And a look now live at Netflix headquarters in Los Angeles. The company announcing a reorganization plan as a new round of layoffs begins. Netflix, not the only company facing recent financial struggles. Amazon also reporting big losses. Both companies that flourished at the height of the pandemic now facing financial problems. Joining me now to talk about all of this is financial journalist Bethany McLean. Thanks for being with us today. So what happened with these two companies? How did the pandemic play into this?
So the pandemic definitely played into it. It's a slightly different story with each company. Both companies rode the wave of the pandemic. Netflix's business grew enormously. Amazon's business grew absolutely enormously as we all shifted to working and shopping from home. But what's happened to Amazon now is really more of a blip, I would say, and a probably fixable problem. Their losses this quarter stem from a one-time write-off on an electric car maker. There are some struggles in the retail part of their business, but it's still growing. And the part of their business called Amazon Web Services is phenomenally profitable and still showed fantastic growth this quarter. Netflix's problems are a bit more existential, I would say. The company has always burned through an enormous amount of cash, even in good times. They're facing an incredible amount of competition, both from legacy TV studios that have started their own streaming businesses and other streaming subscriptions. And it's unclear what they're going to do to come out of this.
So companies like Netflix and Amazon, they have huge staffs. They have brilliant people working for them. They must have recognized, right, what was happening and built contingency plans. Am I right?
You would like to believe so. You would think that these incredibly well-paid, high-powered people would be able to see around corners, but the truth is it's not human nature to do so. We tend to think that what was true yesterday is going to be true again today. And in fairness to them, there were a lot of people who were saying that some of the pandemic era changes were here to stay. You didn't hear many people saying, for instance, that, at a certain point in time, we're going to want to go shopping live again, and Amazon's business isn't going to keep growing. So you can see why they might have thought it was going to keep growing. On top of that, some of Amazon's problems have been caused by supply chain issues and inflation, both of which are beyond their control. Netflix is a little bit of a different story to me. I would think they should have seen it coming with all of the increased competition and the obvious fact that people were going to have less time once we all had to start working again. So that one surprises me a bit more.
Okay, so during the pandemic, we saw people buy a lot of stuff, right? Consumers bought things. Now consumers are changing their spending habits. They're focusing more on service-driven industries. Is that part of the equation too?
It's part of the equation for Amazon, not a huge part of one. The bigger issue for Amazon is the shift back to live shopping instead of ordering online. But again, I really see this as a blip for Amazon. They hired an enormous number of workers during the pandemic to keep up with the increased demand. They can and will lay those people off, and their profit margins will come back up. This really profitable part of their business, as I mentioned, isn't struggling at all. Amazon Web Services still grew, I think, 40% this quarter, and that's the major source of their profits. I see this as a blip and one that Amazon can fix, maybe not immediately, but with time. For Netflix, it's going to be more complicated. People's habits are not changing so much as there is incredible competition in the business that Netflix is in, and the real dynamic at the heart of Netflix's business is that it needs to spend billions of dollars. I think it was $13 billion last year on creating the content that we all want to watch. If they stop spending that amount of money, they don't get to keep their subscribers. So to me, there's a really fundamental problem at Netflix.
And our habits have all changed because we expect to binge watch things that take years in some cases to create. Bethany, thank you. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.